All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for returning in a timely fashion, and thank you for turning all your cell phones to the off position. All right, you ready to proceed? We're back on the record. You're still on the oath, man.
So we were talking about Hemy and his family moving to Boca, and I think the last question I asked you was, were they living in a house or an apartment?
They were living in a townhouse.
Okay. And did you have occasion, you said that it was about a half hour to 45 minutes from where you were living. Did you have occasion to spend time with them while they were living in Boca?
Absolutely.
And did you have an opportunity to observe what Hemy's relationship was like with his wife during that time?
Yes.
And what was your observation?
I'm going to object foundation. She doesn't get to say observed and then everything is admissible after that. She needs to lay a foundation that her observations are not based on hearsay, verbal responses.
I understand. Counselor, I'm going to direct that you, if you don't mind, shape that question to elicit a response that's not based on hearsay responses.
You indicated that you had an opportunity to observe Hemy with his wife during that period of time.
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to hear conversations that they had?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to witness any conversations that they had?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to witness any arguments they may have had?
Yes.
And can you tell us what you observed about that relationship during that time?
Well, again, I'm going to object. It's based on foundation. Counsel is specifically asking questions that's referencing conversations, which in and of itself would be hearsay. It's rank hearsay. And so if she wants to ask about demeanor and things of that nature, I have no objection. But if she's asking about things that are derived from conversations, that is hearsay.
Response.
Judge, I didn't ask her what was said. I asked her what she observed, meaning what did she see, not what did she hear.
All right. I will allow you to ask that question, and she can answer that question on what she observed.
My observation was a lot of tension, a lot of screaming, frustration, just a lot of tension in their relationship and what was going on at that time.
Okay. And you mentioned that they only lived in Boca for about a year. Do you know where they went to after they left Boca?
They returned back to Israel.
At some point, did they come back to the United States?
Yes, they did.
For a visit or to live?
They came back to live here.
Okay. And do you know where they moved to in the United States?
They came to live to Atlanta.
Did you have occasion to visit them in Atlanta?
Yes, a few times.
Okay. Specifically, in 2008, did you have a chance to visit them?
Yes, I did.
Was there a particular occasion that you came to visit them for?
I came for the graduation of their twins' high school, their high school graduation.
Okay. And when you came up, did you drive or fly?
I flew.
Okay. And how did you pay for your own ticket?
No, my brother invited me to, he paid for my ticket to come to Atlanta.
Okay. You've mentioned that you have two brothers. Which brother?
Hemy.
Was that normal for him to do something like that?
No, it's out of character.
While you were here for the graduation for your niece and nephew, were there any festivities for the graduation?
Yes, there were. He threw a...
Who is he?
Hemy.
Okay.
Hemy and Relly. They both threw a party for their kids, for Tom and Lee. It was a very nice party, very elaborate.
Was the party at their home?
No, it was, they had rented a part of a restaurant.
I'm going to object at this juncture as to who had done what. She needed to lay a foundation that she knows who did what in terms of renting or throwing or that sort of thing.
Response. Response.
I will rephrase the question about who actually paid for the restaurant. Where was the party?
It was in a very nice restaurant hall. I mean, it was, they took a quite a big section of the restaurant, and
Object again, she's-
Well, the question was,
I-
where was
Where was the party?
So, if she can answer that question, okay. Can she respond to that question?
I'm
The
sure.
question is, where was the restaurant? Where was the event?
Where was the event?
Did you understand the question?
I did understand the question. I do not recall the name of the place.
Okay.
It was,
But she asked you, isn't that what you asked? Where was the event or where was the
What,
restaurant?
right, what type of place was it? Was it?
it was a very nice place.
Okay. And was the party in the entire restaurant?
I don't recall. I know that it was at least a big portion of the restaurant in an area that was blocked off just for the party.
Okay. To your knowledge, did Hemy or Relly own that restaurant?
No, they did not.
And this party, do you recall how long the party was?
A few hours.
Was there food?
Yes, there was food, and they had.
Can you estimate how many, were you present at this party?
I was present, absolutely,
Do you
and
recall how many people were at this party?
I think about 75.
Do you recall what time of day or night the party
It
was?
was in the afternoon, late afternoon.
Was this the same day of the graduation?
It was not the same day of the graduation.
Okay. Where did you stay while you were here?
I was staying at my brother. I was staying with Relly and Hemy. I was staying at their home.
Did you notice any changes going on at the house?
Yes.
What did you notice?
There was Hemy was building a garden for Relly with a waterfall, and it was some quite elaborate gardening that was happening, landscaping.
Did you attend the actual graduation?
Yes, I did.
And was there any incident or anything that happened at the graduation that you recall specifically?
I specifically remember we were taking pictures, and my mother was also taking pictures, and Hemy just blew up at my mother, just practically bit her head off, if I can say it like that. He was just very upset.
Okay. Was there something that precipitated that?
No, not at all.
I want to back up a minute back to your childhood. You told the jury about an incident with your dad and Hemy and a bowl of ice cream.
Yes.
I want to ask you about, was there any, would anything in particular happen if you or Hemy did not finish a meal at the dinner table?
Yes.
What would happen?
My father sometimes would have us sit and stay at the table. There were many things, different things that would happen. He would sometimes have us sit at the table till it was all finished. And I recall sometimes it could last 2 hours, and if we did not finish our meal, and this did happen, he would take the food and he would shove it down our mouths or shove it down our nose.
Moving to 2010, did you have any conversations, did you speak with Hemy at all during 2010?
Yes, I did.
Without telling me what the conversation, without telling me what he said or what you said, did you have any conversations with him about finances?
Yes, I did.
Was this a normal topic of conversation for the two of you?
No. No.
As the year progressed, was there anything unusual about other conversations you had with him?
And yes, we started talking more about
Without telling. Right. Don't talk to us if don't tell us what the conversations were about. Did you ever email back and forth with Hemy?
No, not through email.
Okay. Did you ever receive an email from him?
Yes, I did.
If I can approach, Judge.
You may.
This is Defense Exhibit 7, which has already been
Is that
admitted.
D7?
Yes.
All right, you may.
Just take a look at that for a moment. Do you recognize that email?
Yes, I do.
And are you one of the people listed
Yes, I
in that
am.
email?
Yes.
And what is that email about?
That is an email that he sent to a group of people, and it is basically a letter that he is explaining about his marriage and his state of being. He has it divided. This is the same letter that Dr. Flores read,
Okay.
the same email.
And you said that he didn't normally send emails to you?
No,
Okay.
no.
So this is not a normal communication from Hemy to you?
It's the same. This has not really.
Would this be a normal communication between Hemy and you?
Absolutely not.
Moving forward to December of 2010, did you have any contact with Hemy then?
Yes.
And did you actually see him in December of 2010?
Yes.
Was there a death in the family?
Yes, my father's wife passed away.
Was there a funeral?
Yes.
Was there a Shiva?
Yes, it was.
And did both you and Hemy attend those two events?
Correct. Yes.
While Hemy was there, did you have the opportunity to talk to him?
Yes, we did. Several occasions.
Okay. And during his visit, did you have an opportunity to notice what his mood was like?
Yes.
And what was that?
It was different.
Different in what way?
It was more quiet. Just our conversations were unusual than normal. I mean, not that he was acting differently, but the conversations were definitely not what they normally were.
Okay. And the Shiva, did anything unusual happen during the Shiva or on the way to or from?
Just our conversation.
How did you get to the Shiva?
I picked him up.
Okay. And did anything unusual happen when you picked him up?
Yes.
What was that?
Well, what was different was that, you see, Hemy, I arrived an hour late, and I was very upset. I was kind of anxious getting to him because I was afraid how he was going to react. So when I arrived, and I was usually he would react in a very different manner, and I was anticipating how he was going to react. So for the whole time that I was leading up to picking him up, I had all these feelings, and when I picked him up...
One second. There's an objection, sir.
Non-responsive.
I think she's getting to the answer, Judge, but I can ask her
Getting to the
to.
answer. All right, I'm going to sustain the objection. Ma'am, you can answer the question, but you have to respond to the question that she's asking.
What was the question?
My question was, did anything unusual happen? And you were telling the jury that you were late and that his reaction was different. What was his reaction?
He was calm.
Okay. What would you have? What did you expect his reaction to be?
Objection, Your Honor, as to the relevance of what she expected his reaction to be.
Sustained.
Did you have a conversation with him during that ride to the Shiva?
Yes, we did.
Was that conversation what you would consider an unusual or usual conversation for you and Hemy?
Objection as to what she would consider, and it's also based on hearsay, Your Honor. She's foundation.
Oh, over the objection, she may be able to answer that question without giving a hearsay response.
So don't tell us what was said. Just was the conversation normal or not normal for the two of you?
It was not normal.
Okay. And did Hemy come to where was this funeral in the Shiva?
At my father's house at the time, which was in Tamarack,
Okay.
Florida.
And did Hemy go alone or did he go with somebody?
With me.
Okay. Did his family come with him?
His two daughters came to Florida with him, Dee and Lee.
Without telling us what was said, did you have any conversations with his daughters about Hemy during
Yes.
that trip? Did you grow up in the same house with Hemy until he was 13?
Yes, I did.
And as you grew into adulthood and Hemy grew into adulthood, have you and Hemy dealt with your childhood in the same way?
Objection, Your Honor, as to how she may have dealt with her childhood or even how Hemy may have dealt with his childhood. It's not relevant.
Response. I heard the question. I'm trying to. Yes, response.
I'm laying a foundation, Judge, for my next question.
The question was, had her and Hemy dealt with their
Childhood in the same
right?
way.
I'm trying to sustain. Next question.
Have you had any problems with the law?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustain.
Can we approach, Judge?
Sure. Come on, Roy. Is there a question on the floor?
Based on representations, no, there is not, Judge. I will withdraw that question.
There's no question. There's nothing to respond to. Go ahead.
Have you spoken with Dr. Flores?
Yes, I have.
How many times?
Twice.
And do you remember when those were, and I don't need exact dates, but approximately what year?
I spoke to her in, I believe it was 2000. I don't know if it was 2010 or beginning of 2011.
Okay.
I cannot recall the dates.
Okay.
And I spoke to her again in 2016.
Okay. And without telling us what you told her, were you able to provide her with information?
Absolutely, yes.
Are you familiar with Jewish traditions?
Yes.
How is that you're familiar?
Growing up with the traditions,
Okay.
my upbringing.
Okay. Is there a significance to a man wearing, or is there a significance to wearing a head covering in the Jewish tradition?
Yes.
Okay. And is there any significance to facial hair for men?
Yes.
That's all I have right now.
All right, you may cross-examine if you wish.
Ms. Mesh, I have a few questions for you, okay?
Sure.
All right. Let's talk about December of 2010. Counsel asked you some questions about that. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. She asked you if you were with your brother, and you talked about your brother being down for the shiva. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that was the shiva of your father's wife?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall that was December the 22nd of 2010?
I don't remember what date exactly, but it could be right around that time.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you some of the testimony in a second. Let's move on just for now.
Okay.
You interacted with Hemy during this time period, correct?
Correct.
All right. And is it fair to say that Hemy was speaking clearly?
Yes.
All right. It's fair to say that during this time period that you described to counsel, the car ride, Hemy was logical, right?
Yes.
He made sense, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the same, counsel and I were talking about the same time period, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Now, you and Hemy have been pretty close, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you would agree that you know him pretty well, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we talked often back then, correct?
Yeah, we spoke.
Okay. Talked about personal things.
When?
Back then, during this time period. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear with my question. During the time period of December of 2010.
Yes, very personal.
Very personal things. Okay. He during that time period, he never told you that he was seeing an angel, correct?
No.
During that time period, he never told you that he was seeing a demon or anything like that, did he?
No.
Your brother has a child named Ian, correct?
No.
I'm sorry. Has your brother ever told you he has a child named Ian?
No.
Has your brother ever told you that he has a child named Sophia?
No.
What are the names of your children, of your brother's children?
Tom, Lee, and Adi.
And he's never told you that he had any additional children other than Tom, Lee, and Adi?
No, he did not.
And again, we're talking about December of 2010, correct?
Correct.
You know, if I could have just a second.
You may. We're back on the record.
Earlier, when counsel asked you about your childhood, your other brother was there for some of these things, correct?
Correct.
All right. And the occasion that you talked about with the ice cream, your mother was in fact there for that event, correct?
She was.
Okay.
She was in her room.
Okay. But she came out and stopped it, correct?
She didn't stop it.
But she came out and attempted to intervene. She saw it.
Yes, she did.
Okay. And I don't mean to be indelicate, but your brother is still living, correct? Your other brother, not Hemy.
Yes.
Okay. And your mother is still living, correct?
Yes.
In fact, she's here in court today, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Judge.
All right, lawyers, may this witness be released and excused from subpoena? Do you know that the name of the subpoena, Mr. Mann?
No reason.
Object to come stage, Your Honor.
Thanks for coming in. You may come down. All right, next witness. Sure, come on up, lawyers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give you a brief stretch break there in the jury room. You need a cough drop? Cough drop to the leader. You got some already? Okay. These are honeys, ladies. All right.
You gave me that extra resistant strand of
All right, Lord, before you may be seated. Hey, Mr. Lane, you saying 10 minutes?
I believe Mr. Brown said that he was coming up the elevator right now, so
Okay.
10 minutes would be.
That's fine. What we do, the deputy gets ready. When Mr. Land is ready, just let me know. Yes, sir. All rise.
May be seated.
This is going to be. What's your husband? January.